Man, it's gonna be funny to see like the difference in the hair length as these
Yeah,
things go
I
on.
know. Like whatever. I just whatever happens.
Oh yeah, so I had to to raise it a little bit. I got a shoebox and
Oh, the Death Star,
propped it up.
the magnetic Death Star.
Of course,
That thing's
the
awesome.
ever present ever present. Yeah, I wonder if it's gonna make the video, but if you could see in
Oh,
the
there's
upper right,
Groot.
there's a baby Groot.
Nice. That's awesome. Hey everybody, it is time for episode 3 of Quarantech. These are going super fast, I can't believe it, but you know what? It turns out it's actually easier to get people onto shows like these when everybody's working from home, which is awesome because everybody's got a camera, everybody's sitting there at their desk already. So what we're going to do today is we're going to talk to the director of IT at HMC Architects. We're going to talk about all the things that IT has done in the past couple of weeks to get everybody to be able to work from home. We're going to talk about networking, bandwidth, cloud, stuff like that. And I just thought it would be interesting to kind of get that side of the story because it's totally different than what's happening with digital practice, even though we're fully integrated on the efforts that we're putting out to make sure that everybody can successfully work from home. Let's give Jason Meeks a call right now. What's up, man?
How's it going?
It's going good. So should we let everybody know what happened last time?
Yeah.
So we've already recorded this once, but my fault. I recorded all the audio, but no video. So perfect. It's all right. You know, everything goes better the second time you do it.
I hope so.
Yeah.
See if we could remember what we talked about.
Yeah. Okay, so we talked about bandwidth, we talked about VPN, we talked about kind of server capacity and connectivity and dealing with latency and all that kind of stuff.
Help desk, software center, everything we were up to, deploying new laptops to people.
Yeah.
Again in a week. Yeah, it was a pretty busy few weeks there. So yeah, but we wanted to share with everyone, since we're working remotely, like how actually are we working remotely right now? And
Yeah.
the first thing we covered was the cloud. So we've been moving a lot of services to the cloud lately to enable us to be able to work from anywhere.
Yeah.
We weren't preparing for a virus. We were preparing more for office moves.
Right.
So people could work at job sites, work from Starbucks, work on trains. But luckily, we were already well into some technologies that would allow us to work from everywhere. And a lot of those are on the cloud, such as Office 365, that has all of our email, that allows for sharing Office documents. That also enables Teams. So Teams is part of Office 365 as well. So luckily, we migrated to that about a month before all this went down. So I'm really glad we did.
Yeah, totally.
If we're Skype, it would have been kind of a mess.
Right. And even a couple of years ago, before that, you and I and Chris Grant and Tara Wallace and Bruce Bowl in our communications department had been working to deploy the new intranet. And luckily, again, I think
Right.
just kind of that worked out really well because that's now how we get all the information out to everybody, how we update everything. We've got wikis on there with the latest FAQs about working from home and stuff like that. So
Right.
I think all of that kind of plays into, we actually were in a pretty good spot for this to happen
Right.
technology-wise and backbone-wise.
Exactly. Echo, I'm not sure if everyone knows this, Echo is our intranet, and that resides on AWS, which is Amazon's backbone.
Right.
So we also have the Microsoft stuff is on Azure, which is Microsoft's backbone. So we have stuff all over the country right now. So.
Yeah. And Amazon's handling it really well.
Teams as well. I was reading that I believe there was maybe 30 million people on Teams before all this happened, and now there's over 40 million people.
Yeah.
And it's been relatively stable. There's been one hiccup, but I think they scaled up pretty well on Azure.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, right now there's a little bit of video skipping around, but like I'm on wireless. I'm sure you're on wireless too. I mean, it's pretty good considering.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Right. But there's some other services. Open Asset, I know a lot of the marketing department uses that. That's on the cloud now.
Right.
And we moved some licensing to the cloud recently too.
That's right.
SketchUp is on the cloud, and very recently Rhino is now on the cloud too. So
yeah, the cool thing is, people they don't actually have to touch our network to do that kind of work. Our office network, I should say.
Yeah, our office network. So we do still need VPN for some functions, and the biggest one for that is the file shares, the project map drives. So we still need to use VPN for that. But what we don't want people doing for sure is using VPN and opening up Revit models. VPN itself is not a bad technology. It's just we can't control people's internet connections from home. And if they have issues, outages, they could lock up models, corrupt models. So we really recommend use BIM 360. That was built for slower connections. But yeah, opening Revit over VPN, please don't.
Yeah, BIM 360 is a lot more forgiving with latency, right? Could you explain what latency is so that everybody understands what that is?
Right, so bandwidth isn't the only number we have to worry about when working remotely. So, bandwidth is the size of the pipe you have. You can fit more things through that pipe, but latency is the amount of time it takes for a packet to go from your machine to the remote server and back. So a lot of programs out there like Revit were built for local area networks where you didn't have a whole lot of latency. You were right next to your server. You could have like a 1 millisecond or less response time. But when you're working remotely, you can have like 100 milliseconds of response time, which still seems fast, but with a really chatty program, it talks back and forth maybe 1,000 times, so that 100 really gets magnified.
Yeah.
So even if we have the biggest bandwidth pipe, if latency is bad, Revit still will not run well.
And that's not a big deal in an office like Ontario, but it's a big deal for all these various locations that we could all be routing through the internet in an extremely different way.
Right. And what causes latency is physical distance, and also the number of hops, the different routers that it takes to get to the server. There could be like 15, 20 hops. When you're on the network, there's one hop.
Yeah, right.
So, but bandwidth's been holding up pretty well. We did have a glitch yesterday where we were down for probably an hour, and then it was flaky for another hour.
Wow.
But our provider got it resolved. We're back in business. The past couple of weeks, we've been averaging at peak times probably only using 25% of our bandwidth. So we still got a lot of capacity.
That's cool.
So we're doing well there. Yeah. I think we shared.
Yeah, do it.
Last time. Let me see if I can get it going again. I'm going to share my desktop.
And while you're doing that, one of the things that you had said was that everybody is being funneled through our Ontario network, right? It's because that's where the biggest pipe is.
That's our biggest pipe. Once you get into that network, you can reach all the other networks. So we've gone that route, kind of a hub and spoke. So yes, we don't have. It'd be a lot more difficult to manage, especially because a lot of people work on projects all around the company. To manage. Hey, you connect to this router, you connect to the San Diego router, you connect to this. So we just had everyone go through Ontario. So this is our current bandwidth right now. I think when we did this last week, we were over 100 megs per second, like solid.
And just to give everybody that flat spot that we're seeing go away is just because you didn't have it running, right? I mean, that's it has to catch up once you get it going.
Right. I started it right here, so this is the live feed right now, and you can see here for redundancy we have two pipes. So the Integra Telecom is our 1 gig pipe, so that's a pretty big pipe, and TPX is 100. So it's kind of a failover just in case we lose one. Unfortunately, both were affected yesterday, which was really strange.
Wow.
So this is the first time we've had an internet outage in Ontario in like a couple of years.
And when did
So
you
great
upgrade
timing.
Ontario back originally to go to the 1 gig connection?
I believe it was a year and a half ago.
Okay, cool.
So
And we haven't had any
yeah,
bandwidth issues since that went in. I know before that there was still some grumbling about the speeds, but there hasn't been in the last year and a half.
no. Usually, if there's a speed issue, it's the remote server. Like a lot of places will throttle the bandwidth, so you don't like take a big chunk of their bandwidth out,
Yeah.
which we would do. So yeah, I haven't heard anyone complain about bandwidth speed from within Ontario. So that's been great because that used to be a constant thing we had to deal with.
So can you just explain what a VPN is so that everybody understands what the difference is between that and BIM 360 and like a Citrix connection?
Right. So VPN stands for Virtual Private Network. So when you connect to VPN, you connect directly from your computer to a port on our network, and it gives you an address to act like you are actually connected to our network. So you have an address the same that you would have if you plugged into the Ontario office. So your machine is on the enterprise network. The difference with VPN and Citrix, when you Citrix in, you're actually remoting into a machine on the network, basically like a window into another machine's desktop. You use the resources of that machine. So you're basically getting like screen refreshes. So like the difference between the two, using VPN, the traffic still has to go across the network to your machine. So using chatty programs, you should probably be using Citrix instead, because that machine is actually on the network and the latency is really, really short, like less than 1 millisecond to open files.
So when people are using like a Citrix type of a connection, they're just sending like mouse and keyboard commands over the network instead of all the data.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Exactly.
So that's a very small amount of data actually being sent over the pipe.
Right. So some people are still working on some 2017 projects that they don't want to upgrade to BIM 360, and for those 2017 and earlier, we have to use Citrix.
Yeah.
There's nothing we can do about it.
Yeah, so that's worth saying again, just BIM 360 only supports Revit 2018 and up. It does not support anything older than that, so we don't really have any options except to use Citrix to get in and control a piece of hardware on the network that's running that Revit model, or upgrade the model, right? I mean, you actually can upgrade the model, but doing so, every single person who touches that model also has to be on that exact same version of Revit. It's very important. If we have varying versions of Revit in the model at the same time, it can lead to some really bad things as well. It could corrupt the model.
Right, exactly.
So what else have you guys been doing to enable people to work from home? I know a couple of things that come up the top of my head are Software Center, and just like how are you guys also just generally handling support now to 350 plus locations instead of 7?
Well, we do have a help desk system in place, and we're asking everyone, please don't reach out to us directly. Open up a ticket through help desk. That really helps us to organize and prioritize tickets as they come in, and we can see trends. Maybe there's 10 people with the same issue. We can get ahead of issues. So yeah, and we can track and monitor stuff a lot easier that way.
Yeah.
If you send me an IM, maybe I won't see it. If you take out a ticket, you have probably 6 eyes looking at it. So you'll get support much faster. So I was going to share my desktop again.
Cool.
To show the help desk system.
And people can get to the help desk either by connecting to VPN and using the icon on their desktop, or they can go through the web to get there as well, right? It's the same system.
Right. You do not be connected to the VPN.
Yeah. So that's even easier, right? If you just click the link inside of our remote work FAQ, it'll just take you right there, and it's a very simple URL. But You don't have to get on the
Exactly.
network to get there, which is cool. Like Jason right now, he's just doing it in the web browser.
Right. And also through Echo.
And the nice thing
So
about this is
under,
it just uses
sure.
your normal network login, and it just takes you right there.
Exactly. So this is what it looks like. So you can either request new hardware, look for a solution, or click here to if you're having an issue. Also at the top of the page, there's the request catalog, which is kind of a shortcut directly to these template categories. But say, okay, I had a problem with email or BIM 360. The great thing about the template categories, it pre-populates a lot of the fields already. So you basically go in and just say what your issue is,
Right.
and then hit add request, and it will get filtered to the correct person. So it saves you time too. If you can't find exactly what it is you're looking for here, like Teams, you can do a new issue and fill everything out yourself. So, yeah. So
Cool.
please use this to take out any requests.
Same for digital
tickets.
practice. Like this is one of the ways that we again can organize and prioritize, like Jason said, all of the support requests that come in, and just like he said, you're instead of one set of eyeballs looking at it, you got a few people, and then we can divide up, depending on who has the most availability or expertise or whatever the thing is that it's going to require, we can filter it to the right person a lot faster than if you're IMing 3 different people and maybe somebody answers it but nobody else knows what's going on. It's a giant mess. So
Right.
we're trying to funnel everything through helpdesk because then it really helps us understand where the problems are and the urgency levels for those.
So I'm sure a lot of the tickets that we see that come in are for actual software installs. So one of the things we've been working on with digital practice has been to create Software Center, which is a part of Microsoft's System Center suite. But what it allows is, since we took away local computer admin rights, I'm sure everyone has noticed that you can't go in and install any kind of software you want anymore or make changes, admin changes. But with Software Center, you can have a list of approved HMC software that you can install yourself that does not require admin access. And it also, we could build routines in where it will enter in like a license key or templates. So everyone has the same template, same license key, and it frees up IT staff because most of our tickets are actually for software installs.
Yeah.
So this is actually adding like an extra person to our team, which is great.
And this is a huge deal for the tools that we're deploying in digital practice. IT was able to kind of go through and working with whoever they needed to in DP, like whether that was Noah on the design technology side or Nancy on the BIM side, fully customize those installs so that everybody's getting the exact same version, so that everybody's getting the same template files. If it's in Rhino, they're getting the Grasshopper components that we want them to get, that our scripts rely on. So it's a fully custom install in some cases.
Right. Some of these installs do maybe 8 to 10 things.
Yeah, it's
not just install.
It's
right.
not just a simple installer, right?
One thing I didn't mention yet, to install software and open up Software Center, you do need to connect to VPN first. We're looking at a way to get around this, move this to the cloud as well, but right now you have to connect to VPN first. And some of these are looking at installs that reside on our servers still. So yeah, for that, we have to be connected to the VPN too. Right.
Cool. Well, all this stuff is awesome. Is there anything else that you wanted to share?
No, there are some more things we're going to be working on, rolling out within the next couple weeks. I think I'll wait to share what those are for
Good idea.
maybe our next chat.
Nice.
But yeah, we're seeing this as an opportunity to make some changes to enable even more ability to work from anywhere. So we're not just sitting around answering tickets. We're working on making everything better, our network better too.
That's awesome. Hey man, hats off to you and your team. You guys have done an amazing job to make sure that everybody actually can work from anywhere. And I know, I'm sure you've been fully inundated
over the last couple of weeks, but you guys seem to have pulled it off in an amazing way. So great work.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I really appreciate everyone's patience as we got everyone going.
Yeah.
And thank you to Digital Practice too, getting all those BIM 360, all those projects converted into BIM 360.
We're just like constantly on chat with Jason and his team, and I mean it's just a very much there's just a huge collaborative effort going on there, and I mean I feel like again we're all in this together. So I also thank everybody for their patience, because I think we all know what we've been up against, and it's been a crazy couple of weeks. But hopefully we can breathe a little bit next week, and like you said, kind of push things forward that are not so reactive but more proactive to push us even farther into how we can best be set up to work for the future.
Yeah, let's make the most of this.
Cool. Well, thanks for your time. I appreciate it, man.
All right, thank you.
All right, talk to you soon.
Talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, that's it for this episode of Quarantech, number 3 in the books. I was really happy to talk to Jason, and again, just kudos to his team. 4 people were able to move 350, 360 people into the cloud to work remotely. We're all in this together. It's been a huge collaborative effort, and I mean, that small team with that number of people, I'm sure they felt shorthanded quite a bit. So again, thanks to everybody for their patience throughout this process. Leave a comment below and let them know how much you appreciate everything that they've done. I think that would be really cool for them to see. So that's it for this episode of Quarantech. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.